Hello everyone, welcome back to a new Sezane video today. I want to share with you some bits from the pre-fall collection and as usual just give you my review on each of the pieces, the quality, the fabric, the sizing, to help you guys out if you are thinking about one of these pieces. If you guys have watched my past Sezane videos, you'll know that I like to style each piece in 3 ways because it just gives me a good initial indicator of how versatile this piece is and how it matches with the rest of my style. At the end of this video, I'm also going to do a little bit of a shop with me and talk through of the collection that is about to launch on Sunday. So let's get into the video now, hope you guys enjoy. Let's start with this first piece that I'm wearing. This is the Angela shirt. It's just in the most beautiful guipure lace material that I just think is so feminine and so delicate. This one feels quite balanced in that the ruffle is not overly large around my face, and the delicate details like the lace work I think just makes it very beautiful. One thing I really like that I think adds to that delicate feel is the buttons that go down the front of the top, and it just adds a very soft feeling to this piece. The same buttons used here are also on the sleeve. You just got 3 little buttons. If I was interested in this piece, one of the biggest things I would be wondering about is whether this is too sheer. Given the fact that this is actually made from that type of lace material, it's got literal holes in it. So if you're wondering about that, you can definitely see through to your skin if you are looking up close. If you can see that this ruffle feels very strategically placed, so I'm wearing a nude bra and I don't feel like you can see it at all. I do feel very comfortable in this and I feel like it's got pretty good coverage if you're wearing a nude bra, and it's really not something you would notice. This is what a true white would look like, and I think compared next to each other you can see the differences where this is definitely a warmer kind of cream color as opposed to a true white. This piece is quite unique to my wardrobe and I don't have anything made from this lace material ever since I let go of a self-portrait dress. And the closest will be this option. I can say that this is one of my oldest pieces from Sezane. I've had it for about 3 years now. I wash it all the time, I wear it all the time, and it has held up very beautifully. These are very different fabrics. This is very soft and traditionally like cotton-like. And this is made from 90% cotton, 10% polyester. This one feels more like cotton string that has been kind of woven together to form this kind of guipure lace. This is an item that I have decided to keep just because I know I wear pieces like this a lot. I really think this feels very unique to my wardrobe in that it's got that lace material, and I guarantee you guys will be seeing it a lot moving forward. This knit that I have on is called the Fleur knit, and I'm gonna start by saying that I'm not crazy about the shape of this one. It's very boxy through the body, as you can see. This is the extra small, so I definitely feel like I could have taken one size down, but the thing is that it's also quite fitted along the arm, and I usually don't like that because I like to layer and I like to be comfortable when I am layering. I don't have sensitive skin, I always like to say this, and even then I feel like this is a bit stretchy on my kind of neck area. I have a lot of Sezane knits that are very soft, very comfortable even on my bare skin, but this is not one of them. But the pro is obviously this beautiful print, so I wish I loved this, but I unfortunately just think the quality lets it down a little bit. In terms of the wear and tear, I feel like it kind of falls between these 2 jumpers. So let me show you now how they look up close. Can you see that like mohair texture that I'm talking about? I feel like all 3 knits here have that texture, and I will say these 2 sweaters have both worn really well with very minor to no pilling. Wear and tear wise, I really don't think this sweater will be a problem, but it just doesn't meet my expectation in terms of quality to begin with, and I also don't like the shape of it on me, so this is going back. Next up I have on the Carlie dress, and this one I'm excited about because I know that from past experience, I really like this particular fabric and style that Sezane does. The entire top half has this lace kind of detailing to it. It's been knitted in a lacy pattern that just makes it more feminine, and it's very cute actually. And it's got these little frills around the wrist and along the hem of the skirt. When you get to the skirt portion, the texture of it changes. So it goes from this fancy lace knit to something that is a bit more plain on the skirt. So it's got lots of those little details, and if I turn around, you've also got 3 buttons around this neckline area, as you can hopefully see. This is very reminiscent of these 2 dresses that I have. I've got this one which is like a black bodycon dress, and I've also got this green dress which is very similar to what I'm wearing except that it's very long, whereas this is kind of like a mini dress. The reason why I really like these three dresses is because of the material. I think it's a really good balance between being comfortable and looking nice. So the comfort comes from the fact this material is really stretchy. It's not a thick kind of bodycon restrictive material, which I would hate. This is very stretchy and very comfortable. But on the other hand, it's not so flimsy and thin, where you can kind of see everything inside really well. I feel like, especially around the stomach, it's never a good look when the material is really thin and you can just see everything. So it's mainly because of this fabric that I'm so happy with these dresses from Sezane. And this is actually the only fabric that I'm showing you guys today, where it has 28% polyester and the rest is Eco-Vero. I normally avoid Sezane's polyester pieces because I don't like the material, I don't think it's worth it, but this dress will be the only exception because I know this material is something that looks really nice, I always like to wear, and it still feels comfortable. If you are much taller than me, one of the things I would definitely keep in mind is the length, because I imagine it will sit quite short and it just depends how comfortable you are with something shorter. These two dresses are actually the exact same material, where they're both 72% of Eco-Vero and 28% polyester, so you can kind of see up close how the wear and tear looks after having this for about a year. This is really not a material that I think has a lot of wear and tear. One of the things I would watch out for with this material is if it pulls on some more delicate things like your jewelry. Okay, we've got something here. Can you guys see that? Where over here we've got a little bit of a pull, like this. So this is the only thing I've noticed on this dress. And I'll just say that when you're wearing it, try to be careful of like rings pulling on it, because at the end of the day, it's still a knitted material and it can be delicate in that sense. I will keep that in mind for this dress, just to kind of be careful around jewelry and things that might get caught in the knitted material. But really a fan of this fabric, fan of this style, and this is something I will be keeping. This cardigan that I have on now is called the Betty, and this one is obviously in the most striking color. I think that's one of the things that I really liked about it when I decided to order it. The other thing that I like about this knit is that it's in 100% merino wool. I never find merino wool uncomfortable, and this is no different. I think the structure of this knit is one of my favorite things about it, because it looks very neat and polished, as opposed to being a sweater where you can kind of see bumps on the inside, where it kind of lays funny sometimes. This always kind of keeps its shape really well. I think I especially recommend this sweater to anyone who might be petite, because the sleeves fit really well. It's a very nice length through the body, and it's kind of a slight oversized shape without being too oversized and long either. In my past experience with merino wool, I always find that it wears quite well, and that's across the board from Uniqlo, Everlane, any of the brands out there. Merino wool has always been a material that's worn really well in my wardrobe, and I think this knit should be the same, so I do have very high expectations of how this would wear. Of all the knits I'm sharing with you today, this is definitely the nicest. I can't speak for people throughout the rest of the world, but I know in Australia it is quite hard to come by a sweater made from 100% merino wool that isn't the super thin and flimsy type. This is a mid-weight knit. It's definitely got a little bit of weight in it, and it's just incredibly hard to come by. So this knit is something I've been personally very happy with, and I'm excited to style it more. Next up we have another sweater, and I think this is the last sweater I have to share with you guys. This is the Johnny. And if I was to compare it to a Sezane knit, I would say this is most similar to the Gaspard, if you are familiar with that. I really like the color of this. I think the beige is very dimensional. I also really like the neckline. I feel like it has quite an effortless looking vibe, and just a little bit of a gold accent, which makes it quite cute. The only thing is that because I do have quite a few knits, I tend to be very fussy now when it comes to knitwear. I just do get a little bit annoyed when the sleeves are too long and it goes halfway down my hand. I talk about this way too much. I can obviously roll it up, but it's one of those things I'm always worried that it will stretch even more and then be even longer. So this is one of those things that has become a bit of a deal breaker for me. I think that I want to be a little bit more selective, and because of that I don't think I'll be keeping this. I think that in terms of the itch factor, it doesn't feel bad on my bare skin, though I can definitely feel the wool in there. It feels like a Gaspard would, so if you're usually happy with that, this is about the same. I already showed you earlier the wear and tear of the Gaspard knit. With all of the Sezane knits that are the blends, so like the mohair merino blends or the mohair alpaca blends, anything with that slight kind of fluff to it, has generally worn really well for me. The only thing about these knits wear and tear wise is that I tend to be quite careful washing them and making sure I dry them flat and properly so they don't lose their shape, as they are quite kind of soft and shapeless pieces to begin with. I just don't want anything to go wrong with the shape and silhouette. This next item is definitely my favorite thing from this entire order, and that is the Aran jacket. So the reason why I'm so surprised by this is because I feel like on the website, I thought the color was a bit more red, like a more brick red kind of color, whereas in person, this is much more of a burgundy shade with that purpley kind of magenta undertone to it. I really just love this brushed gold button against the burgundy jacket. I think it just makes it feel so special. Another thing I was wondering about was the price, because this is a little bit more expensive than something like the Willa jacket, and I wasn't sure why that would be because they look similar enough. On receiving this jacket is definitely much more substantial than the Willa. The Willa as well as the Dennis jacket, if you're familiar with that, they're both light jackets. This is a much thicker and more substantial material compared to the jackets. I'm always talking about the Willa jacket because I really like the fit of it. It's not so long like the Will style, but this jacket actually fits even better in that it kind of hits me at the length that I like for a jacket, but it's still got a little bit of that oversized boxiness to it, which I also appreciate. So I'm going to do a side-by-side comparison of this and the Willa, so you can see the differences in the fit. This jacket also has quite a lot of detail, so you've got lots of these little accents going into a V shape. I always think that this kind of V is quite a flattering shape, and it's just a really nice little accent to have. With jackets like this, there really should be no wear and tear. It's made from a very sturdy, solid material, so the material is obviously not going to wear through because it is so sturdy. The thing I would care about the most is color, and whether these striking and bold colors would fade. So I took a quick look at the blue jacket in a bit more detail. I feel like it hasn't faded. If it has done so in a way that feels very even, where I can't see any patches where the color feels stronger than others. And I think that's the most important. And even if it did fade, you want to have it fade in a way that feels very even without anyone being able to notice it. And I really cannot see anything even close up. I think I've gone through everything I can think of for this jacket. The size is the extra small and it fits me very well, so that is my normal size. I wouldn't recommend to go down the size for this jacket because I do think that it fits me very well true to size. If I was only keeping one thing from this entire video, I think it would be this jacket, just because I really love this kind of wine red shade with the gold. My last two items are both the Chloe shirts, and I've got this one in the chambray and I've got this one in the plaid. This one's like a linen viscose blend. I really like the plaid on this shirt. It's been a while since I've owned anything plaid. Last thing I can think of is this Sezane dress. Plaid is not something that I've experimented a lot with, and I feel like this piece, even though it's plaid, it's got this really feminine neckline, which makes it feel a little bit more dressy than just a plaid shirt. So I really like the neckline. And the fabric is also perfect. It doesn't wrinkle as much as if it was 100% linen, which I can definitely appreciate. And the viscose just gives it a little bit of a nicer drape in my opinion, which makes the neckline sit really nicely. Excuse my very kind of messy tuck today, but this is how I would normally wear it, tucked into a pair of jeans or a midi skirt. And I like the way that the material doesn't feel too structured. The neckline feels like it kind of falls down quite naturally. The reason why I like this shirt is the reason why I like a lot of Sezane pieces, which is that it takes something very classic like a shirt and it gives it a very feminine kind of romantic twist by adding this drapey neckline to the top. Without this neckline, I'm not sure how much I would have liked this shirt, but I think with the neckline, it suddenly puts the plaid in a new perspective and I like the girliness that it adds. So this is the chambray shirt version, and I would totally understand why someone would like this. I think the color is really nice and it's got this contrast kind of white lace, which is just very pretty. When it comes to the neckline, I feel like unlike the silk and the linen version, which just kind of falls very naturally, this one has a tendency to want to stand up. Because it's got that embroidery detail, I feel like it makes it quite rigid around this neckline. It doesn't seem to want to drop as much as the other two styles. I think I've unbuttoned the same number of buttons as the last top, and you can just see that it doesn't seem to fall as well as the other materials. If you're okay with that and if you're okay with wearing it more as a high neck, I think this is also very beautiful, but this is the one that I'm going to send back, and then I'm going to keep the plaid version instead. A little bit after 5:30, which is when the collections launch here in Sydney, and I'm just gonna walk through the website and talk you guys through what catches my eye. I usually start with knitwear because this is the category that I'm usually quite excited about. I'm gonna keep this short because otherwise we could be here all day. But the printed jumpers honestly are not that exciting for me, having tried the Fleur and having not loved the shape of it. One thing that catches my eye is this yellow color. I think this yellow color is really pretty. First thing I like to do is look at the material composition, because if this doesn't look good, usually I will just click out. So it's not too bad. It's not too bad. And the next thing I look at is the sleeve situation. So this doesn't really have much of a cuff, and this is such a weird thing to look for, but usually if there's no cuff, I try to stay away. Also pink and reds, which I remember seeing in the lookbook, which is quite pretty, but it's not really anything that I'm that excited by. These are very pretty though. Okay, this is nice. I really love anything that is really textured when it comes to autumn and winter, and I feel like this kind of material is just so nice. Material wise, yeah, seems to be okay. So that's what, 84% wool. And what is the sleeve situation? You cannot tell ever. So this looks really nice. I'm very tempted. Here's a Betty cardigan. I didn't know they did it in the navy. I think I've seen the white before, and obviously, you know, the green, but I haven't seen the navy. That feels very classic and quite like the color. I think that is about it. So let's go back, and I saw this print in the lookbook and it definitely immediately reminded me of that John dress that they released a while ago and that I have. So this is like a viscose polyester blend. Is it the same across the styles? My one is a silk cotton blend, which obviously I would prefer, but the print is really nice, and I'm a big fan of this red and blue pattern. This is very pretty. The material is so nice, it's like a linen viscose blend. So moving on to shirts now. This immediately reminds me of a Dowen blouse. The Albertine is kind of reminiscent of that. I don't think there's anything in shirts that has really caught my eye. I really like this plaid, but it's the exact same Angela shirt as what I showed, so probably not. Other than that, nothing is too new, I think. On to jackets and coats now. I love this jacket. I'm just not happy with the price and the material. So most of it is recycled acrylic. So it's predominantly synthetic other than 26% wool. And I just think for this price, you can do a little bit better. I do love it. Like, that is a beautiful design. I don't think there's anything new in the jacket section, so click out of here. Shoes. You guys know that I tend to avoid Sezane shoes. Let's just take a look through because I want to show you something. Okay, here we go. Here are the sandy boots, and I just love my sandy boots so much, but the quality is not there. I have mentioned this before, but I'm literally missing leather at the front of the shoe on both shoes. They've become really quite scuffed, which is not acceptable since I've only had them for a very short time. So these are so beautiful, but I just can't recommend this boot to someone, and I'm actually looking for a replacement because honestly, those shoes are near falling apart. So I just wanted to give you guys that as a warning because I love those shoes. I just wish I could recommend them. Onto skirts, because I know a lot of you guys love this category. This is obviously something I would click on. So up close, the print is quite pretty. It's quite a bright print, lots of pink and orange and navy. I really like that it's quite a dainty print, but I just think that maybe there is something in my wardrobe that is kind of similar. So I don't think I can justify this, but it is very pretty. Now this is a skirt that I was interested in because you guys know I love my black midi skirt from Marge, but I mentioned before that the quality on that skirt is appalling. I purchased the second hand, which makes it a bit better, but the quality is just not good. It could fall apart any day, to be honest. So I've been looking just for another black skirt option. This is a maybe. And to finish things off, I'm just gonna take a quick look through the accessories. So starting with the belt section, there was one particular belt that caught my eye. This Artemis in the magenta I think is so beautiful. I love a pop of color in my outfits, and I imagine like a black dress or a white dress, it would be so pretty just to pop this on. Very, very tempting. But it's obviously such a statement color that I am not sure about. All in all, I'm very tempted by the Artemis belt, and this is something that I might order and just have a look at. And the other item that I'm excited about is the Juliet sweater. I just love the texture on this. I think it is so cool. The only other thing I'm tempted by is this Alicia skirt. I just have been so disappointed by that Marge skirt. I feel like this would be a higher quality option that will last much longer in my wardrobe than the Marge version. So that's all that's caught my eye, and let's go back to the video. As a whole, I've been super impressed by the Sezane Pre-Fall collection, and I'm honestly very excited to style all these pieces in upcoming content. I feel like with the summer collection, there were a lot of pieces that were nice, but as a whole, the collection was not that exciting for me, which is why I didn't do an entire video. Whereas this collection is quite interesting, lots of good designs as well as nice fabrics. Overall, there was just very good attention to detail in a lot of the pieces, which is why I like the brand to begin with. Thank you guys so much for watching this video. I would actually love to know if there was anything you picked up from this collection, or if there's anything you're interested in as well. And if you enjoyed this video, you like Sezane reviews, I actually have an entire playlist on my channel dedicated to Sezane. If you enjoyed this video, I would love for you to go hit the like button down below and consider subscribing if you're interested in similar videos as well as just general style tips. Thank you guys so much for watching this one, and I will see you soon. Bye.